Hello, welcome to Ennara Reacts. Today I'm watching another video from the Fat Electrician from his Fat Files. And this one is apparently him stating how Pablo Escobar's hippos might cause the apocalypse. So let's see how that happens.
So I did a video last week over on my main channel, Band of Beavers, when America airdropped beavers into the woods to save the environment. And I was like, wow, that was a pretty funny video. I wonder if there's any other funny conservation stories. So I looked into it and yeah, there are. Today we're talking about Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos that are currently messing up the ecosystem in Colombia, threatening the entire Amazon rainforest, and that Colombia also can't get rid of because some court in the United States granted cocaine hippos personhood, which is potentially groundbreaking legal precedent.
The heck?
Yeah.
Nicholas, did you get a beer vending machine?
Maybe.
Why?
For the home gym downstairs.
What home gym?
Crandall Fitness sponsored the video and gave us a home gym.
But we have a gym membership.
Well, first of all, I want to be able to lift weights the way the Lord intended.
Okay. Oh. The electrician has a plumber's crack? Or that's no shorts
disgusting.
At all.
You should wear clothes.
Home gym's already ruined. Anyways, Crandall Fitness, small business based out of Texas. They have a couple of employees. It's ran by a husband and a wife that were mad during the pandemic that they couldn't go to the gym and they couldn't really afford any nice gym equipment. So they decided to design and have their own made so that normal people can afford fancy home gyms and not have to worry about their gym being closed. The equipment's high quality. I don't know, it's heavy. I pick it up, I put it down. It hasn't broken yet. What else more could you possibly want? Anyways, I'm gonna have a link and a discount code down below. Go check out Crandall Fitness. Let's get back to the video. All right, from the top, Pablo Escobar. He's the #1 drug kingpin of the 1980s, if not of all time. Under his reign, I guess you would call it, his cartel was responsible for about 80% of the cocaine globally, and they were making about $22 billion a year, of which Pablo Escobar was profiting $60 million a day to himself. Pablo Escobar was making so much money selling nose beer that he was actually listed as the 7th wealthiest man on the planet in Forbes for like a decade. And it's hard to comprehend how much money that actually is, but to give you an idea, according to Pablo Escobar's son, when he was a little kid, they were camping one night and they didn't have any firewood, so Pablo Escobar burnt $2 million in cash so that they could make some s'mores.
Seriously?
So how can I have some more of nothing? You're killing me, Smalls.
Okay, this man was spending $2,500 a month on rubber bands to hold all of his $100 bills together. That's how much money this guy was personally making. This guy made so much money selling nose torque that he didn't even have anything to buy anymore, so he just started spending all of his money on whatever he could get his hands on. By the time he was done, he owned 141 houses, 142 planes, 20 helicopters, and 32 yachts. And at some point along this spending extravaganza, he's like, I guess I'm just gonna start collecting rare, wild, exotic animals because there's literally nothing else I can spend my money on. He had a rhino, he had an elephant, he had a giraffe, he had a bunch of exotic birds, and one of the things that he smuggled in was 4 baby hippos, 1 male and 3 females. And as those hippos grew and matured, Pablo Escobar may or he may not have fed people to them based on their ethnic background, or at least that's what the Netflix TV shows led me to believe.
Hipopótamos esos. No, hipopótamos tampoco les gustan los mexicanos.
Either way, fast forward to 1993, Escobar's compound gets raided, it all gets turned over to the Colombian government, and they have to figure out what to do with this entire zoo that this man has living in his private compound, and pretty much all of the animals get turned over to either zoos or sanctuaries. All of them except for the 4 hippos, and I can hear the comment section already. Buh! That doesn't make any sense because if you can transport an elephant, why can't you transport a hippo? Buh! Okay, look, I understand your logic going into this. That's a big-ass animal. That's a big-ass animal. If you can move one, why can't you move the other? Simply put, it's because elephants and other large animals can be reasoned with. You know what I mean? You can roll up on an elephant and be like, hey, chief, proposal, how about I give you some peanuts and you get your big ass on the truck? And they're gonna be like, okay, I'll walk my big goofy ass ears up on the truck for you. You can't reason with a hippo, all right? Hippos are territorial assholes that will kill you for no other reason than the fact that you got a little bit too close for their liking. They are the deadliest animal on the planet, responsible for killing over 500 people per year.
Holy crap.
Buh! But I still think they're kind of cute. Buh. Okay, first of all, no, it's not. Objectively speaking, it looks like Voldemort fucked a grizzly bear, okay? Secondly, there's nothing cute about this animal. It's absolutely horrifying, okay? You're like, oh, it's chubby and it's cute. No, it's not chubby, okay? It is almost 4,000 pounds of straight muscle and bone. Hippos are so dense, they can't float, okay? Are you picking up what I'm putting down right now? Hippos can't swim. Most people are probably hearing this for the first time. No, they sink to the bottom of the river and then they run along the bottom of the river, and then when they get out of breath, they jump up, get a breath, and sink back down again. Okay, and just so we're all on the same page, 4,000 pounds is bigger than most cars. Like a Toyota Corolla is like 3,000 pounds. This is literally a semi-aquatic muscle tank that's got 12 to 18-inch stalactites for teeth that maxes out at 19 miles an hour on foot, okay? It's absolutely horrifying. This animal is so unstoppable. It has no natural predators. You can make an argument that when they're a baby hippo, they might get eaten up by alligators or lions, and that does happen once in a while. But even then, there's accounts of alligators letting baby hippos chew on them like chew toys when they're teething, because the alligators know at this point that
There's
if
a
they
mama
hurt the
somewhere.
baby hippos, all the full-grown hippos are going to dismantle them. Once hippos reach maturity, there's absolutely nothing that can kill them, okay? You can get on the internet and find videos of a pride of lions attacking a single full-grown hippo, like lions on the hippo's back biting it, and the hippo's just
Really?
walking towards the river completely unfazed because it's not even hurting him. The only thing that kind of regulates the hippo population in Africa is the dry season, because once the rivers and the ponds dry up, the hippos can't survive. Okay, do you understand what I've just
They
told you?
dry out.
This animal is so fucking gangster. The only known predator it has is the dry season. Literally, the only thing capable of taking it out is Mother Nature with a natural phenomenon. Sorry, we're unhinged at this point, but my point is, you're not getting the hippos on the truck to move them if they don't want to be moved, and hippos don't want to be moved. They want to be left alone to do hippo things, and that's what's going to happen. So all
Whatever
these
hippo
Colombian
things
Special
are.
Forces guys that broke in and raided Escobar's compound are like, I guess we're leaving the hippos here. And then over the course of the next couple years, either somebody just let the hippos out, or the hippos broke out into a nearby river system, and they've been living there ever since. Okay, now
And
fast forward
multiplied.
30 years from 1993 to 2003, they know of 170 of these hippos, and there could be more out there. So the hippo population in Colombia is growing exponentially, and it's estimated to reach 1,000 hippos by 2030 if we don't do something about it. And this is an environmental disaster,
Okay.
not just because the hippos are dangerous to people, but because the hippos poop in the body of water that they reside in, and their poop is so toxic that it creates this algae, and these large cultures of algae start floating around the top of the water, and this algae actually eats all the oxygen out of the water, which kills off all the fish, and not having fish kills off all the birds, and it's fucking up the entire ecosystem in Colombia.
Okay.
And there's nothing to stop it or even kind of slow it down because there's no dry season in Colombia, which means that pretty much every hippo born in Colombia is living out its entire lifespan of roughly 50 years, and every female hippo gives birth to roughly 7 other hippos, and their population is going to continue to grow exponentially until some of them are forced to move into other areas of water. And if those hippos make their way into the Amazon rainforest, we're all fucked. Because the Amazon rainforest is one of, if not the biggest ecosystems on Earth that helps stabilize the climate of the entire planet, because it stores
You can't have
200
them in there
billion tons
killing
of
the
carbon.
fish
And if we
and
mess
killing
up
the
that
birds and
ecosystem, it
et
could have
cetera.
planetary-wide implications, and who knows what's going to happen. So clearly, we got to get rid of these hippos, right? We're going to have to cull and kill off all the hippos. It's the only option. It's not fair. It sucks for the hippos, but that's just what has to happen, right? Apparently wrong. In 2009, one of the hippos was being extremely aggressive towards fishermen, and the army stepped in to kill this hippo before it started killing fishermen that were trying to feed their families. And they posted
Okay.
a picture of this dead hippo that they had just killed named Pepe on the internet, and the planet had a fucking meltdown because the Colombian government was killing hippos. Now, obviously, when I say the entire planet, I'm being hyperbolic, and what I actually mean is a bunch of self-righteous, entitled pricks. I mean, animal rights activists from first world countries that don't actually know or understand anything about the environment or conservation as a whole, but they do know that it feels good to save animals in between sips of their Starbucks Frappuccino by bitching at people on Twitter. So, because a bunch of people whose opinions shouldn't even matter in the first place are going to be upset if Colombia kills these hippos, for the past 15 years, they've been trying to find a different alternative besides killing them in order to get rid of all these hippos. First thing
You
they did,
drank
they
'em?
tried to capture some, put them to sleep, and then neuter them.
Yeah.
This is Bob Barker. Have your pet spayed or neutered. I'll just die already.
It didn't go that great. Like I said, it's 4,000 pounds of muscle. And if you didn't know, male hippos have internal genitalia, meaning that it's really
do?
hard to tell male from female. And it's also very hard to neuter them because you have to cut through 4,000 pounds of muscle to get to any of the genitalia in the first place. And then the hippos didn't have great outcomes as far as surviving the surgery and being released back into the wild. So next thing we could try, we could tranquilize the hippos. And then while they're asleep, we could transport them to a zoo or a sanctuary sanctuary of some
Yeah.
kind, right? That's a halfway
That
decent
makes sense.
idea if you don't think about it. I mean, what happens when you tranquilize a hippo? Well, where are the hippos? First of all, they're in the water. What happens when you tranquilize something? It falls asleep. What happens if a hippo falls asleep in water? It
Well, they
sinks
drown.
because they don't float, and then they fucking drown, and you can't get a 4,000-pound animal out of a river in time. So after like 10 years of trying alternative
We
methods,
gotta
2020
wait till
rolls
it's on
around,
land
the
to try
Colombian
and get it.
government's just like, I mean, there's nothing else we can do. We're just going to have to cull and kill all these hippos. It's literally the only option without having planetary-wide implications. So naturally, a bunch of animal rights activist groups got together in the US and they sued the Colombian government because they were going to kill the hippos.
But Saul, how can I sue these people and institutions? I have no grounds. Do me a favor. Let me answer that question in person. Better call Saul.
Okay.
During this court case, because the hippos have never set foot in the United States of America, they literally have nothing to do with the United States in any way whatsoever, and the United States legal system has no jurisdiction over it at all. The federal judge in this court case had to declare the hippos interested persons so that they could even hear the court case in the first place. But by doing
heck does that
this
mean?
judge inadvertently basically admitted that hippos have personhood, which means that they have human rights. And with the way the US court works, once one court decides something, it sets a precedent, and all the future court cases get to refer back to it all the time, which means hippos, and potentially by extension the entire animal kingdom, could now have human rights.
Anyone can be anything!
And let's be honest, if
Okay.
you've made it this far into one of my YouTube videos, I know exactly where your brain just went. You're like, holy shit, this means the hippos have the Second Amendment, and the only thing scarier than a hippo is a hippo with an AR-15.
You don't need an AR-15. Buy a shotgun.
Yes, Joe Biden, or hippos with shotguns. I don't care. Hippos with
Either.
guns are terrifying. Now, obviously, that's ridiculous
Not
and
that they need
silly, and
them.
we're just joking around. However, what you should actually be concerned about is the potential that next time you accidentally, hit a deer with your car, now your friendly neighborhood tree hugger environmentalist can take you to court and try to have charges pressed against you for vehicular manslaughter because you didn't just accidentally hit a deer, you killed a person with your car. Because now animals
It's
aren't
not
animals, they're
a
people, and
person,
people have human
and it
rights,
was
and
an
it
accident.
completely upends our entire understanding of how the law functions today.
People know
Thankfully,
better than
this
to
is
stand in the
probably
middle of
not
the road
gonna end
in
up happening.
the dark
I
of
read
night.
through a bunch of actual lawyers and legal scholars analyzing this, and their conclusion is that it's kind of a bullshit technicality and it shouldn't ever set a precedent. However, shouldn't still implies that it kind of sort of might one day, which is horrifying. But US law and precedent aside, it's affecting the Colombian cocaine hippo situation because it's putting a ton of political pressure on the Colombian government. Now, in order to fully appreciate what is going on here, you really got to put yourself in the Colombian politicians' shoes, right? On one hand, you've got an environmental disaster with potentially planet-altering implications that's being instigated by cocaine hippos from Pablo Escobar. And on the other hand, the United States, the country whose military budget is literally twice the size of your nation's GDP, just came out of left field and they were like, oh, hey, by the way, the hippos in your country, no other hippos and no other animal in the planet ever, for that matter, has ever been considered a human. But the cocaine hippos in your country, we consider them to be people now. And the Colombian government is like, what the fuck does that even mean? If we cull
Exactly.
these hippos to save the world, are you guys going to consider that a genocide? Or what's going to happen? You're going to put an embargo, quit doing business with us, wreck our entire economy over some hippos? What? And that's pretty much where we're at today. Nobody really knows what's going on. The Colombian government doesn't really know what to do because everybody's too busy arguing about the moral and ethical dilemma of killing off hippos/people, while the hippos are in the background pooping all over the rivers and the ponds, killing off all the fish and the birds, destroying the ecosystems of Colombia and potentially by extension in the future the entire Amazon rainforest. And nobody's doing anything about it. I feel like I'm in an episode
have
of
to
Black
be
Mirror.
treated
You know what
like
I mean?
an
Because
invasive
maybe I'm simple,
species.
maybe I'm stupid, maybe I'm just a horrible person and I don't see the value in all animals' lives in relation to saving the entire planet. However, I feel like the options are pretty simple. A, save the environment. B, give a fuck about the feelings of people that don't know what they're talking about because it will make them feel better if hippos don't die, even though they wouldn't know about it if they did. And somehow, the feelings of random people is winning while the clock is ticking down to an environmental catastrophe. The entire thing has made me lose so much faith in humanity, it's unbelievable, because I'm now absolutely certain that aliens could crash land on Earth, aliens, from the movie Alien, not intelligent life forms. Their sole purpose is to run around and kill anything that's alive. Those things could crash land and start murdering everything. And I guarantee you there would be activist groups that were protesting to make it illegal to fight back against these aliens because they have a right to live too.
I do not call them aliens because alien is a derogatory term for anything.
Oh, that's so true.
Even extraterrestrials.
That's where people are at, and it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Now, my personal opinion, and this is going to show you how horrible of a person I am, I don't think the Colombian government should kill off all these hippos. I really don't, because that would cost the Colombian taxpayers money, and that's dumb. The Colombian government should issue tags and let a bunch of foreign, rich, wealthy hunters come in and kill hippos for $100,000 a piece. They'll pay money to fix the problem for you, and then you can take all the millions of dollars that would net Colombia and put it back into preserving and helping the environment, which has been damaged by these hippos. But we're never ever going to do that because that would make sense, and making sense usually hurts people's feelings. So I guess this is just where we're at. I'm sorry, this video got way more angry and unhinged than I ever thought it would. So I guess in conclusion, this is a story about how Pablo Escobar, the drug kingpin, smuggled in 4 baby hippos into Colombia, and now generations later, all of the hippos are somehow considered people, and they're going to destroy the Amazon rainforest, and nobody's going to do anything about it because a bunch of self-righteous know-nothings think they're helping. Thanks for watching. Best way to support the video is go buy some merch over at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out. I need a fucking beer.
No kidding.
$999. 1,000. I thought you said we couldn't lift naked anymore.
It's so much better this way.
Okay. Well, there you are. Apparently, cocaine hippos ruining the environment. Some environmentalists need to get a hold of those animal rights activists and have a chat. Because if the way it's going says that it's going to cause planetary problems because these hippos are going to ruin the environment of the rainforest, which will have a worldwide effect, then that's a problem. I mean, I don't like killing animals unnecessarily, but this seems like it qualifies as necessary. They're an invasive species. Just like you want to get rid of other invasive species like certain fish or plants or other things that kill off the natural environment around them. These are now an invasive species there that are being detrimental to the local and potentially worldwide environment there. So it makes sense to do something about it, one would think. But there you go. Another humorous and informative video from the Fat Electrician and his Fat Files. And if you have any recommendations for other videos or anything to watch, drop it in the comments, and I'll put a link to the original video in the description. And thanks for watching. Remember to hit like and subscribe.